have a really funny story from when I was a truck driver. I was driving a truck in the rain in Mississippi. It was very, very slippery pavement. So of course I'm driving slowly to avoid losing control. Now this other truck driver decides to pass me on the left lane. He's going so fast that his trailer is sliding in and out of his lane. And I'm like, what is wrong with this guy? Like, that is a very irresponsible way to handle your vehicle. Like, if I was in truck driving school and I let my trailer do that, they would have slapped me in the face. They wouldn't literally do that, but yeah, they would have something to say about that. So yeah, I'm thinking, okay, I should slow down because because his trailer is sliding back and forth, it might slide into me if I don't get out of his way. So of course I slow down until the trailer is completely in front of me, and right after I do that, his trailer slides all the way out of his lane and into mine. Like 1 second later, that trailer would have been hitting against my truck and possibly pushing it off the road. I really hate truck drivers that handle their vehicles like that, because it's irresponsible. First of all, it's like you're putting yourself and other people in danger when you drive like that. And you should know better as a professional driver than to do anything that would put you and other people at danger. So, there's one reason I would not recommend driving trucks as a profession. Here's why. One week I got a call from the bank that I was using to pay for my car loan. I got a call saying that my car payments didn't go through and that I still owed like $76. So I looked at my bank account, and the amount, even though I was supposed to get paid that day, the amount was zero in my account. Like, they took all the money out to pay for the car loan, but there was still $76 due, and there was no more money in the account, so I couldn't pay the rest. So of course I called payroll and like, hey, what happened? You're supposed to be paying me this week, and there's no money in my account. What happened? Like, how am I supposed to eat? So yeah, every time I called payroll, they just gave me some kind of random excuse for why I wasn't paid. And then they would say, hey, maybe it should be in your paycheck next week. But then next week, it still wasn't in my paycheck. And I'm like, dude, I need to eat and I need to pay for my car. Like, what do you expect? Like, you don't expect me to just, not have, like, how do you expect me to drive for you if you're not gonna pay me? Like, that's slave labor and that's illegal. I will not be working for anyone as a slave. Like, that's ridiculous that they think they thought I was gonna put up with that. So of course, I'm looking to quit after that, because if you're not gonna pay me, then I have no reason to work for you. I got fired before I could find another job, obviously. Okay, this light's green. Green right turn arrow. Anyway, I got fired before I could find another job. So, of course, and at that point, I still hadn't gotten my paycheck. So I'm still calling them. I'm like, hey, where's my paycheck? And again, they're giving me some random excuse as to why they haven't paid me yet. So yeah, if you actually want to get paid on payday, the time you're supposed to get paid, don't become a truck driver, because that's the kind of stuff they do to your paycheck. They'll just not give you your paycheck, and every time you call payroll, they'll just give you some random excuse as to why you haven't gotten paid yet and still not pay you. One of the things I hated the most about driving a truck, like, as stressful as driving a truck is, like, I shouldn't not get paid for the work. Like, why would you want to add stress to my job, as stressful as it already is? Like, I mean, driving a truck is pretty easy. The stress came when you had to talk to customers, because customers are just horrible. Like, they basically think that they can talk to you any kind of way just because they're a customer. They think they can talk to you any kind of way, treat you any kind of way. They basically think you're not a human being and you don't have rights to actually be, treated with respect. So yeah, needless to say, I really hate customers. Like, I think they should all go die. Which makes no sense, obviously, because at some point I'm a customer. But when I'm a customer, I'm actually polite to the worker because I understand that they're human and there are things that they can't do, and I shouldn't, treat them like a horrible person because they can't do it. But these customers, they were awful. Like, I actually once had a customer climb into the trailer while I was unloading and saying, you were the slowest unloader I've ever had. It never took me this long to unload a trailer. And saying stuff like, I fail to see how they haven't fired you by now. Like you should be fired by now. You're working this slow. And come to think of it, I've never had a good review from a customer, only bad reviews. And that's another thing that's stressful because, like, every day you're being reminded, well, you're being told that you're not doing a good job. That doesn't really help. At least, I mean, the place I work now, they're always telling me I'm doing a good job. I don't like, I don't like working in a place where basically they're always telling you that you're not doing a good job. And like, no matter how hard you work, it's just not good enough. One of the reasons why I don't work at Amazon. I don't think what that guy did was legal. I don't think you can pass someone in the middle, in the center lane that you're supposed to be using for making left turns. I'm pretty sure that was illegal. So, yield signs. I actually think yield signs are a stupid invention because a lot of people assume that a yield sign just means merge onto the highway without checking your mirrors and making sure it's safe, even if it causes the traffic to have to make an emergency stop to avoid hitting you. But that's actually not what a yield sign means. It means that you're supposed to give the right of way to the other traffic. You're supposed to stop if you can't safely get on the highway without disrupting traffic. But people don't do that. They just keep going. And then they wonder why they cause accidents. Probably the leading cause of accidents on this one highway are people that don't know how to merge onto it correctly. Remember what I said about dimming your headlights when you're driving near a truck? Don't brighten your headlights when you're anywhere near a truck because the high beams can reflect off the mirror and into the cab and actually into the driver's eyes, and it's really painful. That actually has happened to me before, so please don't do that. It was so bad. My eyes were watering. I could not stop my eyes from watering when that happened. I actually had to pull over because I couldn't see. And figure out why my eyes wouldn't stop watering. Yeah. So yeah, please dim your headlights when you're near a truck. Subject of terrible customers you have to deal with when you're a truck driver. When I was in Los Angeles, I had this one customer. She just wouldn't pronounce the words that she was saying correctly or audibly. Like, she basically had what I would call a lazy accent, where you just don't pronounce the consonants the way they're meant to be pronounced. It's really irritating, actually. Because, like, you have to try harder to actually hear what the person's trying to say. Like, I couldn't hardly hear any consonants out of the sentence she was saying. So of course I politely ask her to repeat herself, because if someone doesn't talk coherently, you have to ask them to repeat themselves. And then she gets mad and she's like, "I'm sick. I really don't like repeating myself." And I'm like, you wouldn't have to repeat yourself if you would pronounce the words correctly the first time. Like, seriously. How you expect me to hear you? You're not going to pronounce the words right. To be honest, I don't care if you're sick, because even if I'm sick, I still make sure people can actually understand me when I talk. Probably because I don't want to repeat myself. Like, I can't remember a time when I was sick when I still didn't at least try to make myself heard. But this person didn't even sound like she was trying. This is gonna act like it's my fault when I can't understand her. And then there was this one place in Rochester, New York, where I was trying to park this truck in a Family Dollar to make a delivery. There was a giant pile of snow in the area that I'm trying to park in to make the delivery. And then of course the customer's like, "Don't you know how to drive a truck? You're serious telling me you can't back up in this area?" And I'm like, you are a very and I'm thinking, I want to tell her this, but of course, because she's a customer, I'm trying to be polite. I want to tell her, you are a very irresponsible manager, because a truck is going to be making a delivery here, and you're going to put a giant pile of snow in their path. Like, why would you even do that? And of course, not only that, but to make this delivery, you had to back up towards the passenger side of the vehicle, which they actually recommend against when you're driving a truck, because you can't see very well on the passenger side. So of course, I get out every few feet to make sure I don't hit something. I get out to double check and make sure the trailer is facing the right way. And of course she's like, "Hey, why you keep getting out of the truck? You're supposed to be backing up." And then I tried to explain to her, "Hey, look, you can't see very well on the passenger side of the vehicle." Then she's like, "What do you mean you can't see? You got like 4 mirrors." And I'm like, actually there are 6 mirrors, but that's still not enough to see in the passenger side, because all you can see is the side of the trailer. Like, you can't see what's behind you. You have no idea what the trailer's about to do, or even if it's about to hit something. That's why I have to get out to make sure the trailer doesn't hit anything. But even after hearing this information, she still gets really angry. She's like, "Can you please just make this delivery?" And I'm like, "That's what I'm trying to do. Maybe if you had had the store facing the other direction, so I could back up towards the driver's side of the vehicle, I could do this a lot faster, because on the driver's side of the vehicle, you can actually see behind you." Like, I don't know what kind of idiot keeps designing the way you have to make a delivery in a Family Dollar parking lot. But they have their design backwards. They always have it so you have to make a delivery toward the passenger side and not the driver's side, which is recommended against truck drivers to even park on that side. So it's really stupid, the setup they have there. That's another reason I didn't like driving the truck. I hated having to back up and park and basically in ways that were recommended against me, because they didn't want to make the setup correct. Oh, my exit's coming up. And then when I finally make the delivery, when I finally get the trailer in the right position that it can be unloaded, she then continues to insult me, saying stuff like, is this your first time driving the truck? And I'm like, well, I'd love to see you try to drive this truck, and then fail every time, because it's your first time, and it's actually a lot more difficult than it looks. Like, I'd love to see her try to drive a truck and then fail. I would laugh at her, because I'm like, oh, not as easy as you thought it was, is it? I mean, driving a truck forward is easy. Driving one backwards is not. Like, I'd love to see her practice parallel parking in a truck. That would be a really funny sight to have. I'd be like, yeah, it's not as easy to back up a truck as you thought it was it? I was actually tempted to like bring her in the cab so she could see why it was so difficult. Like show her what it looks like out of the mirrors, but you're actually not allowed to let anyone inside your cab. But I'm pretty sure even if I sat her in the cab and showed her what it looked like out the mirror, she still wouldn't understand why I was having such a difficult time in that situation. I have to have my high beams on in this exit because it's very poorly lit, and there's a really sharp curve after the sign. So yeah, I would be fine with driving a truck if I didn't have to deal with customers, because I hate customers so much. Like every time I have to talk to a customer, I wish I could punch them in the face because of the way they just talk to me. I feel like they deserve being punched in the face because of the way they talk. I'm trying to get into this left lane and no one's moving out of my way. And customers aren't the only people that insulted me. I was even insulted by my manager a few times. You know, in a normal job like the one I have now, if your manager insults you, you can go to HR and they would, do something about that, but HR doesn't care in the trucking industry. Like, it doesn't matter how mean your manager is to you, and you go to HR, they'll say they'll do something about it, but the next day you still acting the same way towards you. So it's not even worth it to go to HR about it. There was one specific day that was so bad though. Like, I was not gonna drive a truck after that because I'm like, you know what? If this is the kind of thing you have to face as a truck driver, then it's not even worth it to drive a truck. And that was the day when I was making a delivery to a Family Dollar. The only way to make this delivery required the truck to be at a certain angle. It was parked in front of the entrance to the neighboring store because I had to angle it that way. The owner of that store got really mad. So he decided to drive his car in front of my truck and park it there so I couldn't move. Then after I finished unloading, I tried to explain to him, hey, this is the only angle I can have it because of the stupid setup that they have in this store. Like, I have no say in this. If it was my say, I wouldn't have it parked like this. Like, this is not my choice. But he didn't care. And then when I politely asked him to move after unloading the truck, he just laughed and said, serves you right for parking in front of my store. And then his co-workers were laughing at him too. And this was the manager of the store, by the way. Well, that's all the time I have.